So, what is the benefit of things like yoga, riders in recovery, 40 days, TEP, softball, etc.? Mason, I want you to start with that one.
So I spent a large portion of my time in Cornerstone, probably the first 18 months, kind of, like I was talking, like on the fringes, you know what I mean? Like I would go to satellite most days, unless I was working, and I would go to the meetings and, the functions, and that was like pretty much it. And eventually, like, I kind of hit a wall. It's like after a year and a half, it's like, okay, I know how to stay sober. You know what I mean? Like, I know how to like not get high. I know how to not drink. But it's like, I wasn't. Nothing was hard. You know what I mean? Like having one-on-ones is like it's not difficult for me anymore. Like I wasn't being challenged. I wasn't being pushed to grow in any real meaningful way. And in April of last year, I got kicked out of my parents' house. And I was living, with the Howards, who, many of y'all know, and it gave me the opportunity and kind of like a lot of motive just to like, just be in the middle, because it was a super emotional time for me, like I needed support, and, I hit a wall, and I was like, all right, I'm just gonna do what I'm told by my sponsor, I'm just gonna like, start being like teachable again, coachable, and I'm just gonna be in the middle as possible, I'm just gonna get to work. Started doing yoga, started doing the bike rides. I actually started doing softball after the awakening, and it's like, one, like the opposite of addiction is connection. When I am surrounded by people who I feel very safe with, who have experienced like a lot of the same trauma as me, have the same disease as me. I'm not thinking about myself all the time. That's the root of, my problem, right? Is just like I'm so selfish and self-centered, And when I have like, opportunities to be involved in a community, I'm not thinking about myself so much. Also like, physical health, there's a chemical release, I feel good about myself. I've never walked out of a yoga class and been like, man, I wish I hadn't done that, like I've been like lightheaded and I've had to throw up, or like really dehydrated, I've walked away from like bike rides with like injuries and stuff like that, but I've never, even when I've gotten injured, I'm like, man, I shouldn't have done that, you know what I mean? Like I always feel refreshed, I feel more awake, more alert. That's because like my body needs to be active, those are just a couple of the reasons, but it's also just like, I learned by doing stuff like that like I didn't get sober to like have like a super cushy, easy life. Like I got sober to learn how to like do hard stuff, I got sober to have, I learned how to do hard things, how to finish what I start, whether it was like a yoga challenge or something like that. And that set me up so much for like college and like working at a job. And it's like, oh yeah, this ain't as bad as like the 40 days, Bio 1's not as bad as like, going to the Sugar Lane Trails or something like that. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Cool.
For me as a parent, the most growth I had was from attending my meetings and finding the community I found in yoga and riding with the riders, which really pushes you and challenges you and gets you out of your head. But the connection between all of this is connection. That's what it is. The benefit of things like that is connection, is being surrounded by really strong people. Some of them are new, but some of them are really strong. They've been in the program for a while, and it's your support group. So I don't think I could have. It was awesome to have the meetings, everything I've learned at Cornerstone, but to be able to take those experiences and go to yoga or go to any of these other functions and see parents just being normal parents, being normal people, right? You're all doing your self-care together, really helps. At the beginning, I'm not gonna lie, yoga for me was difficult. In fact, I hated it. I would show up at yoga and I would sit in the room. I wouldn't talk to anybody. My husband was all socializing and I would just sit there and cry. I was like so miserable. My son was gone for 7 weeks and I didn't know what else to do. So I would just sit there and cry. And you know, once in a while somebody would walk by and say something, whatever. And then after a while I got over, not that I was feeling sorry for myself, I just got over that and just started to surrender a little bit more and allow myself to be loved on by other people that I didn't know, and something happened. And now yoga is like my favorite thing to do, period. I love yoga. I go to yoga sometimes Tuesday nights, but most of the time other times, and I go with other alumni or other moms that are in the support group, and I absolutely love it, and I've found connection. So for me, it's the connection that I feel when I'm doing something with other people, because it doesn't always have to be about the situation that's going on with my son. I'm doing this for myself. So I found that in those functions.
Cool. Anything to add to that?
Yeah, just real briefly, I really benefited from a lot of the ancillary things, especially the physical activities. Jackie and Mason really said a lot about connection and everything, and that's what I probably would have said had they not said that. But ditto on all that, absolutely. And I'll just add to it that there's a lot of things for me were restoring balance, and at the time we came into recovery, I really had no fun in my life. I would arrive at work and think, wow, how did I get here? I don't even remember. It actually happened to me one day. Somebody asked me if I'd seen a wreck on the way in, and they were like, "Oh, did you come down Brittmore?" And I was like, I don't remember seeing a wreck. I don't remember if I came down Brittmore. I don't remember the drive here, and it's because I was so in my head. I was just literally on autopilot. And for me, the activities like bike riding, for example, I spent 2 hours focused on the 2 meters of ground ahead of me, and it really was a break from myself. There was a mindfulness element to it. Same with yoga. Softball was just fun. I was just laughing, and Janet just shared this story in an Al-Anon meeting a week or two ago. At one time, our daughter was in a psychiatric hospital, and it happened to be she went in right before the softball tournament. And in the past, we would have, it was not a question. There's no way we could have gone and laughed and had a good time while our daughter was in that awful place. And we had just enough tools in recovery to know that we better, and we had made a commitment to our teams, and so we went, and shockingly, we had a great time. We laughed, and there was nothing. Our daughter was in a safe place. There was nothing we could be doing for her. Our natural instinct to sit at home and be miserable was the worst thing for us to have done. Going to that softball tournament, having a ball, being connected with the other people there, getting the love and support from our community was absolutely 100% what we needed. So I would say those are super important aspects of the program, and if you haven't benefited from them, give it a try, because it really is a good supplement, and it balances out some of the hard work and some of the uncomfortableness and the things that aren't the less pleasant aspects of recovery, with some laughter and some fun.
Yeah, totally. I don't have much to add to that. Those are great answers. It's got a couple of things that come up for me when I think about this question is, aside from like just the wonderful advantage of the physical aspect of recovery, when we're looking at recovery, or I'm looking at recovery, or I'm looking at someone's recovery, I want to look at it from a holistic point of view. Like, how are we treating physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And the physical piece of recovery, especially in early recovery, is huge. Being able to be active, get your blood pumping, all the chemical stuff that happens in our brain, like all of that stuff is great. But also recognizing the added advantage of some of these events, like being a part of the community at Big, which is the yoga studio where we practice, or partnering with like Riders in Recovery or the Sober Softball League. Like all of that stuff like really puts us around some other people in the community that are like super winners for us. So we don't stay in this like fishbowl where like all your kids are like always going to all the same meetings and hearing the same thing from the same people, over and over again. But they're like in a very real way and in a healthy way, expanding their horizons and getting outside of their comfort zone and being pushed and being squeezed a little bit. And things like the bike ride or getting up, early on a Sunday morning to come play softball, or doing things like 40 days or the yoga challenges. Like those things just serve on so many levels, and also recognizing that it's pretty special and pretty rare that we have these extra things that we get to be a part of or we get to engage in. Like that doesn't happen just about anywhere else in the recovery world, as far as the partnerships and the other organizations that we've been able to find and partner with that like are on the same mission as us, and having a certain amount of gratitude for that, because that is rare, and we're not always going to have access to that. Like someday you and your kids are going to be out of Cornerstone, and you can still participate in things like yoga and Riders in Recovery and all that stuff, but taking advantage of it while you got it now is just huge, and is definitely advised. And it's also a great way for you to do something with your kid, do something together that's like recovery oriented, where you're not doing a lot of talking, but you're able to like be there and be with your kid and like reap all those benefits.